Well, Jim, a game of two halves. How do you look at that one today?
I can call it a game of two halves. They started brightly, and then we've come back into the game. We sort of built our shape. I thought we just a little bit lethargic in terms of getting the ball from the back and holding midfielders into the front three. But when we started releasing them and releasing runners, we looked a fantastic side for the second half of the first half. I think I was always a bit concerned about the fatigue aspect of the week, going to Stockport, and I thought we just had a couple of players who just looked a touch weak second half. We talked about doing the warm-ups to get them stimulated and get going, but there wasn't a lot of strong characters out there second half, and I was disappointed with the 2 goals, which ultimately sucked a little bit more energy out of us and gave them more. I wouldn't regard it as a game of two halves. I just thought that a couple of our players dipped, and then we never really recovered until I'm asking them to just push on and get in the faces of them.
A legacy then really of the intensity perhaps of the performance on Wednesday night, catching up with the boys?
Possibly, I don't know the stats. You got to travel down to Brackley 3 hours. I don't know what the lads, how they lived their lives, but I didn't think was. I always, you'll see the international teams talk about Champions League matches during the week and the effect it has on results, and so even at the top end with the total preparation, it does have an effect. I don't think we have the players where we could. There's 2 things about today's game. You think your team's played really well, they've got a good balance to the side, and they deserve to start after that performance, and you give them that respect. And then secondly, you look at your bench and think, does any use deserve to play, or any use strong enough to play 90 minutes? And then you look at that and you say, well, perhaps not. So because the intensity of them when they came on didn't really get us going. But so that's the squad we have, and obviously we have to work the players, that our best players, really hard, and if they have an element of fatigue, we tried to protect Jason and Matty. Obviously Jimmy came off from the other game, so you're hoping that helps them have a little bit of a sharper edge.
You mentioned Jason there. Was he injured, or was it a tactical decision to take him off midway through the second half after they'd equalised? Well,
it wasn't a tactical decision. I mean, he thinks there was fit. This is. I've said this to Jason. He's a goal scorer, and if he gets around the backs, he's very, very clever and crafty. But on the rest of the pitch, I counted 15 times when I went up to him and never counted up with our players. And I think we've done a lot of work on counters games where we need a platform to spring the runners, and unfortunately, apart from the odd bump here and there, he never really contributed to getting us up the pitch. I don't think Bowen did any more different up there, but I just thought that I was really disappointed with his contribution in terms of getting us up the pitch and take the pressure off us. In that sense, I wanted to try and use Bowen and Matty to be players that I felt that if we got up the ball in attacking midfield areas, could get us up the pitch and make things happen.
You ended the game without Matty Warburton because of a nasty challenge, albeit 30 yards from goal, but for a team that won the Fair Play Award last season, it was a bit of a nasty one.
Well, I would say it's got a nasty gash in there, and I just, my thoughts, I don't send my players out to hurt people. Their manager's probably thinking, that's a good tackle, you stopped a goal, and you got one of their best players off the pitch. So that's what's wrong with the British game, and that's why we have so many issues with players getting injured and more injuries in the game of football in this country than any other country, because what's that? A yellow card waved in your face. But like I said, Matty's been sensational for us. If there was a spot in the first half, you're just getting him on the ball and just let him play. But it's disappointing because for me, I think that people are going to look at me taking Jason off, and they're going to look at me other bits and pieces and say Gannon's tactics, this, that and the other. But you're talking, when I had a good chat with the kids at the academy on Thursday, and we talked about tactics, and there's the overall team tactic, and then there's things like set plays, and then you look at players not marking people, they're getting crosses, not marking people, tapping balls in, and you've got corners that we said we wanted to go to back post. We scored from it last year. The only corner we played to the back post we scored from, and every other corner's played short or near post. So if people think my tactics are too complicated for the players, I can't make it any simpler than mark your man, stay with your man, make sure he doesn't get a free shot, and if you're taking a corner, hit the back post. And if they're intending to play the near post, then what chance have you got as a manager when the tactics are made simple but the players don't follow them through on the pitch?
it's your first defeat in 7, but you're back to Edgley Park next weekend for another promotion chasing side in Spennymoor. But 3 points will be important in that one now. Will they put extra pressure on that game?
Well, there's pressure on every game. I mean, like you said, you know, we've got high expectations here, and the fans think that every year it's going to be like more about frustrations and that. But look, we are what we are. We've got the players we've got. We're trying to add quality. I'm trying to coach them into more effective performances. We're seeing glimpses of what they can do. But as I said in there is that we're fine when we play teams in the bottom half. We look like we want to play, and it's all nice and dandy, and we can play a bit. And when it comes to the grinding out results at Spennymoor, we need people to put penalties away. We need people to defend people at boxes. Otherwise, you get nothing from these games. We worked really hard on our away performances, but I thought today there was a little bit too much weakness that they exploited. And then from that, then it de-energised us. But yeah, because there's always pressure on Spennymoor that our fans will be thinking that I'm the problem, and I think that we need everybody to do much better than they are and be more effective than they are. And so it becomes a big game for us, because whether it be Salford away, whether it be Blythe at home or Kidderminster at home, these are games where if you had leaders or players who are mentally strong and organise themselves and motivate themselves, you'd be getting points, taking points off the opposition, and that's the difference of where we are in the league and where we could be in the league. And I'm sick and tired of standing on the sideline trying people to move 10 yards, take people on, put the corners to the back post. Players have to look at themselves and say, are they demanding enough from themselves and from each other? And I don't think they are, because I look across the pitch, I don't see people really driving the team forward. They're kind of allowing things to happen, and that's where a key problem for us.
Just finally, I've got to ask you, Callum Mantak, I think I'm right in saying that was the final game of his 1 month loan, technically. Is that a loan that's likely to be renewed? Is that something you'll do?
Yeah, no, we've already done the paperwork, and obviously with Callum playing on the left and Ben McKenna's giving us an option right, Scott Duxbury, you know, he's got to respond now, Scott. Yeah. He's out the team, and I think he came on today, the set plays, the overall intensity of his game wasn't what I'd expect from Scott. And but we've got Connor out on loan, he's on a 24-hour recall. So, as I said to Callum, he's got tremendous ability, but ultimately, you ask yourself about Callum and Ben, how many effective crosses? And then look at your set plays, how many effective corners? And this is stuff that we work on every week. And these players have to take stuff off the training ground, analyse the performance and realise what works this level, every level, and then take it into a game. So he's a good kid, great appetite for the game, and I think this is a tremendous experience for him, because he's in a tough environment. He's playing game after game, midweek games, and he's doing great. And like I said, I'm looking forward to working with him for the rest of the month, and then see if we can find that final edge to his game, because if he has that, then he's got a chance of being a league player.
That's great. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.